Well, my story is very long. Obviously, I've been here for 56 years, and in New Zealand for 30, and in Life Force for 14. So I have to pick the highlights of my Life Force story, but I always want to point out that I'm a classical musician from Austria, and I was a successful classical musician, but while in most parts of the world an Austrian classical musician sounds like a romantic lifestyle, when you're actually in Austria and you're a classical musician, to me it was always like a straitjacket. It's very competitive and it's very strict and very narrow. And so I couldn't wait to get away from there. And when I finally had enough success that I could take a year off and travel the world, I got halfway around the world and never got back. So I'm still in New Zealand 30 years later. And what I found in New Zealand was more space to unfold, you know, from taking that straitjacket off. And so I was running away from something. I was looking for something and I was running away from something, but I didn't know what either of the two were. And I ended up being a hermit living in the bush in the South Island for 10 years all up. But so the first 2 years I was a hermit by myself. And then I realized a whole lot of things about myself. And I was ready for coming back out of being alone, and I found a female hermit. So the two of us lived happy together, far away from the world. And my wife was 47 and been hormonally infertile, so we couldn't have any children. And she had early menopause. And she definitely had early menopause for about 3 months until that menopause started moving. And because she couldn't even think of being pregnant. So we had a baby and we had to change our whole setup because it was no longer sustainable. So I had to reinvent myself back in the world after 15 years of freedom, just do what I wanted to do. I had to all of a sudden look after a family and another life. So I didn't want to go back to the city because classical musician lifestyle definitely needs a city. And I wanted to stay home, see my little girl grow up. And I didn't want to be in a situation like I grew up as a single mother, and most of the time if I wanted anything I heard we can't afford this. And a lot of my friends that I stayed with that had children, there was a lot of that. Can't afford this, can't afford that. And so I wanted to make money. From being away from money for a long time, I wanted to make money, but I didn't want to compromise my freedom for it. So I waited for 2 years for the right thing to come to me, where I can stay myself, stay at home, and share what I have learned with people. So when my wife said, what do you want to do in the world? I said, I want to talk about love. Because love is what I've learned about when I stayed by myself first, and then the two of us together. But what I realized, what I was running away from, was a lack of integrity, people not living their word. And what I was looking for was love. And I was looking for love outside like most people do. And what I found, the flaw in our conditioning is that, has anybody here not heard love your neighbor as you love yourself? Has everybody heard that? Have the same people who taught you that taught you how to love yourself? Anybody? See, I've asked this question to thousands of people over the last 15 years, and it's the same story. We all heard love your neighbor as you love yourself. The same people didn't teach us how to love yourself. In fact, if I stood outside church on a Sunday morning with a sign around my neck saying I love myself, I wouldn't be standing here, they would have put me away. It's kind of the worst thing to do, but we're expected to know how to love the neighbor. Right? So that's what I've realized, and I could talk about this for weeks, so I'm just leaving it there, but I wanted to share that I need to love myself before I can love anything else, anybody else. And so it was kind of a silly answer when my wife, in regards to how we're going to make a living in the world and look after this little child and how will we, what will we do? And I said, I want to talk about love. Well, how do you earn money talking about love? Well, after 2 years, this opportunity showed up in the middle of nowhere. This beautiful man talked to me about this network of light going on the planet, like redistributing the wealth to the people. And I got really passionate about that picture. And here I am. I found a company where the owner of Lifeforce, the founder, Wayne Hillman, calls what we do love sharing. Says if you love our products, share it with the people you love. If you don't like the products, we give you the money back. So how is that, sitting in the South Island in the bush and manifesting an American business owner who talks about love sharing? Because that's what I was looking for. And that's what I've done now the last 14, nearly 15 years with Lifeforce. And I didn't have to say to my daughter in that whole time once, we can't afford this, which was my goal. And we've been around the world 4 times together, and I can go away for 6 weeks and not worry about my income or my business. And it's freedom. It's that time freedom. I saw my daughter grow up. I was at home every day. And I could take her with me when I started traveling. So it's a different life from, I had a great life looking from the outside as a classical musician, but I felt like I was in a straitjacket. So if you can't be who you really are in your daily life, if you have to change when you leave home to go to work and you have to be different at work, to me I call that a straitjacket. Right? And yet we're so used to it. We just go to work for 40 years hoping that we can retire, and if we can retire, it's usually on 40% of the money that we need. Right? Like, I think it's the wrong way around to retire on less money than we had when we were working, because we should really have more. We should have double, and the growing income as we age, because we need more care and we need more enjoyment, if we have worked for 40 years. So it's kind of the wrong way around. And I left that. I retired with 26, but I didn't have an income. And now I've got the residual income, and I don't think I'll ever retire, because retirement is a concept that only came in with the Industrial Revolution. Before that, we just lived. Everybody lived and grew food and was self-employed on the farm. The whole job idea came in with the Industrial Revolution. With that came the idea of you sell yourself for 40 years and then you can retire and have the life you always dreamed about, but then you're 65. So it's important to do something about it as early as you can, and more people are waking up to that, because there isn't any jobs. There's no job security. For young people, they come out of university with a lot of training, but is there a job? And will there be a job for 40 years to retire on? I think that's a thing of the past. So what we're offering here is a new paradigm business model. It's for the new economy. It's the business of the 21st century. It's a cooperative business model, and basically it starts with you buying some products with a 3 months money back guarantee, right? If you like them, you share them with people, with your friends. If you get 3 people to buy the product from the company, you don't have to pay for it. So if we call it a business with 3 customers that you refer to the company, it's no overheads. Does anybody know a business you can start with basically no investment and then continue having it with no overheads? Stay at home? And the potential from there, so you got a business with 3 people that the expense covers itself, and there is no limit to how much you can create with this. And you got all the support. You got this ever-growing community of people whose whole focus is to support you, because I can only win if I can help you win. Right? And for every one of us, we can only win. It's not about getting people in. Well, that makes a little bit of money. But it's getting people in and helping them succeed. Everybody wins. And there's no loser, because everyone has 90-day money-back guarantee. So it's not like if I was really good at presenting and made sure that before you go out the door you signed up, like nicely hype you up and then sign you up on the way out. That works for salespeople, because they get a commission when you sign that thing and you order the product, right? But it doesn't work in our industry. In our industry, there is no close or a sale, there is an opening, and then there's more of an opening. So we look for, how far do you want to go with this? but you got 3 months. You know, if I make sure you sign up on the way out, you got 3 months to get your money back, right? And nobody earns any commission if you get your money back. So it's not a salesperson's job, it's a cooperative business where everybody is free. You're free to come in, you're free to stay in, and you're free to earn as much money as you want to earn here, but the only way I can earn money is by making a difference in people's lives. So to me, the highest value of my life is to make a difference in other people's lives. And yes, the money is great, the money goes in the worldly bank account, but when I make a difference in another person's life and they tell a life-changing story and use my name in their testimonial, that goes in what I call the love account. So I got a bank account and the love account. And there's people out there who have a lot in their bank account and very little or none in their love account. Sadly, there's people who have a lot in their love account. There's good people out there who do a lot of volunteer work, a lot of giving, and they got no money. Right? So this is all about finding that balance, giving people a chance to have both. Right? And when you leave here, the money stays behind, but the love goes with you. And that's what I'm all about. So what I want to do now